Kyle Busch shows he will contend for the chase. He will leave here second in the Sprint Cup standings, down to Matt Yoakum in victory lane.
A forgettable Friday in the Truck Series race, but a dominating Saturday and Sunday sweep. And then the problems you guys had today with your radio issues and then just trying to find a balance. What kind of statement does this send about how you and Dave Rogers and this team have really gelled this year?
It's phenomenal. You know, it feels really, really good. I can't thank the guys enough. You know, the whole M&M's Camry team did such a phenomenal job. And of course, thank Sprint, you know, the fans, Interstate Batteries, Norm Miller and those guys, and Marquis Jets, Gillette. Again, Toyota and M&M's. I mean, we just can't say enough about all the people behind us. And you know, it's fortunate for us to be in this position, and Dave Rogers working as hard as he does, man. I don't think you'll outwork the guy, but you might beat him sometimes here or there. And today we prevailed. You know, that's what it takes to win one of these deals. And we came out right there at the right point, and I think we were going to beat him, but I don't know. You know, 48 was really, really fast today.
Really satisfying knowing how everyone struggled today, just trying to get a handle on this racetrack. And you guys did as well throughout much of the day, but you got it there at the finish. We
did, man. We struggled a lot. You know, we were just so loose. I guess it's a good thing I could drive a loose race car so I can hang on to it that long, but I'm like, come on, man, tighten it up, let's go. No, Dave did a phenomenal job. You know, he kept me going and kept my head in the game, and just being able to keep working on the car, trying to make it better. You know, we weren't the best in the beginning, but we were definitely a top 4 car today, and then we worked on it there at the end, and about lap, I don't know, 250, 260, we really started coming on. So, you know, it's just a testament to these guys and what all they do. Awesome stops on pit road. I think they won the race for us today, and, you know, it was a great effort by everybody.
Congratulations.
Yeah, you got it, man. Thanks.
Another sweep in the record books for Kyle Busch.
Thanks, Matt. Not a dominating day. Jimmie Johnson led the most laps, but Darrell, what impressed me was that every single pit stop relative to the competition, that 18 got better, better, and better.
Yeah, well, what's impressing me, or actually depressing some people, is the mistakes that these veterans keep making. You know, on pit road mostly, spinning their tires on restarts. Just so many little things that are keeping Jeff Gordon, Jeff Burton, and now Jimmie Johnson from winning races. That's agonizing, man.
Larry, also of note, 2 of the 3 Childress cars and 3 of the 4 Roush Fenway Fords all had very strong top 10 runs.
Well, that's got to make that group, especially at Roush Fenway, feel awfully good, because that group, you know, they struggled last year. They looked like they were showing a little bit of spark at the beginning of here in 2010, and then it kind of fell off. But while we're talking about the Ford camp, a couple of cars I feel so bad for out of the Richard Petty Motorsports camp. Casey Kane had a car that led early. They couldn't catch a caution to fix that shifter. We knew it was going to be trouble if he had to make a green flag pit stop, and of course he went 3 laps down. And A.J. Allmendinger, 2 mistakes on pit road with a lug nut and then speeding. Looked like that kid was right there just poised to contend for his first win here today.
Could we take up a collection or maybe write letters to Richard Petty or to Best Buy or whoever it takes to keep that scheme on the 43 all year? Didn't that look terrific?
That may have been what the deal was here at Dover.
There's magic in it, I can tell you that.
Yes, there is. But as Darrell said, you can't beat yourself. A.J. Allmendinger's pit crew had that problem with the lug nut that was their undoing, and Jimmie Johnson also had a tough day on pit road. I think Steve Burns caught up with Jimmie.
Well, Jimmie, I heard you say on the cool-down lap that you got a really good launch coming out of the pits. Did you have any idea where exactly they caught you?
From Chad telling me on the radio, I guess the segment after our pit box. And I've been leaving our pit box hard as I could each time, and there's some cues there from the spotter, and that we've kind of calculated where we need to check up to be doing the right thing. And evidently, I just got out of the pits much better than I had any other time. And because we got to my mark, I heard from my spotter, saw my lights, and I was conservative. I didn't want to make a mistake at the end, and I saw Kyle was going to beat me, so I just kind of gave up that final segment off pit road, and I got nailed. So evidently, like I said, we must have launched much better than before off of pit road. And just disappointing, you know, to have the day end up like that. But great race car. I can't complain about our pit stops, how fast the car was. You know, we definitely had stuff working today.
Jimmie, I know you didn't get a chance to battle for the win, and that's ultimately why you guys race every week. But Are you encouraged by the way that you guys ran? You talked about having a good race car.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, when I look back at the last few races, I know the results aren't what we want, but you know, we were competitive at some of the tracks. We had bad luck at some other tracks. Today we led a lot of laps and ran up front. So you know, it's a long season. There are tracks that are good for race teams, tracks that are good for race teams or bad for race teams. We knew coming here this would be a good one. We feel that next week in Charlotte it's going to be another good one for the 48 team, and hopefully we don't you know, leave a trophy behind there.
Jimmy, assuming you were not caught for speeding, had you figured out the end of the race and what you needed to do to beat Kyle Busch? Had you processed that?
I want to believe I did. You know, he was real quick on the restarts, and there at the end, you know, I think we did a little bit better job on the restarts, and it looks like they freed their car up so it'd run better on the long haul, and it took me much longer to get by him. So there at the end, it was going to be a dogfight. It was a lot of fun. I ran my guts out trying to pass him the run before that, and it's unfortunate we didn't have a chance to race them there at the end for the fans.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Yep, you got it.
And thank you, Steve. You know, since the spoiler, we brought that back. Jimmy Johnson has been averaging a 15th place finish. We joke about a slump for a guy who hasn't won in now 7 races. But the competitor, certainly Joe Gibbs Racing, has dominated, winning 5 of the last 7.
Well, I'm going to say a little bit like this. Jimmy Johnson ran well enough today to win this race. I know Kyle Busch wound up going to victory lane, and definitely Joe Gibbs has got their act together when it comes to this combination. But I really feel like that if it had come down to the head-to-head battle, we were going to be in for really a treat, because Jimmy Johnson clearly had the best car today. That's what we expect out of him. I think it kind of backs up the fact that this is a good racetrack for him, and he had a race car today that could have won, but they made a mistake on pit road. Not on the racetrack, but on pit road, and it was all because they got beat off of pit road. At the final pit stop,
the initial pit stop,
the 18 car beat them off pit road, and I think when Jimmy saw that, I think he tried maybe a little bit harder maybe than normal, and it got him in trouble. I mean, just by the smallest degree, but that's the way NASCAR plays the game.
And it's, again, electronic scoring there, and you 35 miles per hour, but they'll let you go somewhere into 40, so it was tough to tell when you watched.
I just want to make sure we point this out. It's very tough to tell, but at the same time, just because you're a 4-time champion, you don't get any special privileges.
Right. Well, it's impressive, because Gibbs, we're waiting for somebody to challenge Hendrick and Jimmy Johnson for the championship. So maybe Joe Gibbs has figured it out. You know, he's won a couple of Sprint Cup championships with different drivers. He's won 3 Super Bowls with different quarterbacks, and he's standing by live with our Matt Yoakum.
Chris, impressive day by Kyle Busch and the entire 18 team. And Coach, you've worked with so many special athletes, whether it be in the NFL or here in NASCAR. What makes Kyle Busch so special to you, do you think?
Well, I think a lot of people want to drive race cars, play football, throw balls, but only a few are gifted. I think he's gifted. And it's great for us to have him. The whole Mars family, I just really appreciate them. Everybody out there from Mars, they treat us so great. The team, everybody here, it's a total team effort, and I just really appreciate them and the way they support us. It was a great weekend for them, obviously. We had combos yesterday. Kyle got that, and then it was a big week for us.
And you look at the final results today, all 3 Sprint Cup teams impressive out of the JGR stable. In fact, even Rick Hendrick felt like that you guys had caught up to their domination.
I disagree with all those comments and everything. Hey, we're just getting started here. It's a long, hard deal. It goes week to week. I would say this, that Denny start off, and we had a lot to overcome there, fought his way back up, and that says a lot about him. Joey, today we got a ding in the front coming out on a pit stop, and it cost us some there, but he fought all the way back to 10th, I think, and for Home Depot and FedEx. Just really proud of everybody back at the shop that works on the cars. It's a total team effort at our place. I really appreciate everybody, and we enjoy these because you don't get many of them.
It's a team effort, but they're not team members. They're family members at JGR. Chris?
All right, thanks very much. Referring Rick Hendrick, and Darrell mentioned it in the broadcast, that, hey, maybe Joe Gibbs Racing has not only caught us but passed us, Hendrick Motorsports, and Joe Gibbs is wise enough when it comes championship time.